So I'm going to log into Salesforce since all of SUMO is located within Salesforce. And one of the cool features that UMBO uses is our multi-calendar. So I wanted to start there. So on our multi-calendar, this is really an overall view for a scheduler to see what's been booked. And you can even scroll over and kind of see some details as far as a hover over goes as to what the actual appointments are. With that being said, if somebody is qualified, they've filled out they passed the application and they're able to schedule speech therapy appointments, what they do to save time here is they can actually pick a provider or even a resource pool of providers, which I'll show you. And from the calendar, they can book an appointment. So what this does is SUMO is going to bring up our instant booker. So with that, they can pick a type of appointment. So say speech therapy. We can color code this to really any color that you want. This can be hard coded, so it's always the same color. In the UMBO use case, it is video conference, but it could also be in person or even phone. And you can see, since I picked speech therapy, it automatically adds a duration to that appointment. You can have a pre and post buffer time if you need time to take notes, things of that nature. And what we can do here is we can actually look for a resource pool. So maybe we want a therapist resource pool. We don't know who is available and want to get the most out of the availability across the board. So we can look at a therapist resource pool, and then we can add the patient. So there's a couple ways that we can add the patient. We can actually add a new patient. That can be a contact person or lead account in your Salesforce org. And again, this is just going to bring up the same information that you already have configured in your Salesforce org as far as required fields and information. You can do it that way, or you can actually search for a specific person. So maybe Carrie patient, for example, we want to schedule with. So what we're going to do here is scroll down and see the availability of this resource pool. And what a resource pool is just a group of therapists. So say there's 10 therapists that we're picking from. It's going to show all the availability here on the calendar to give you the best dates and times to book the appointment. Now, in the UMBO use case, it is a recurring appointment. So if we wanted to go ahead and book this for maybe a recurring schedule on Monday and Wednesday, for example, we can do that. This could be bi-weekly if you wanted to. And then we can pick our start date. So maybe we want to start on the 19th. And we want to schedule the next series, or we can actually, if there's like a date that the availability ends for these, or a date that you want to end, you can pick that, or after a certain number of recurrences. We'll pick, say, six recurrences for this one, and then pick the time that we want to see if they're available on Monday and Wednesday, and we would generate the resource schedule. So here it's going to show using our traffic lights when the availability, and make sure that it works for all of the days that we've picked. So as you can see, we have the 6 recurrences for the next 3 weeks that we're booking the appointments for. You're able to add any kind of message. So maybe please join 5 minutes early, or whatever you would like to say here. It could be bring specific things to the meeting. Anything. You can upload files as well. The cool thing about uploading the files is that is also HIPAA compliant because everything's being stored in Salesforce. So if we go ahead and book this appointment, it's going to go ahead and show on the calendar, as you can see right here. So it picked Christian provider from the pool of resources that was available, and we can see all of these appointments are here. Another thing that a scheduler sometimes has to do is maybe on Wednesday something came up and they're not able to make it at 10 a.m. We can actually click into the appointment and go in and edit it from the calendar. And if we wanted to edit all the appointments, we could, or just this appointment. So we know Wednesday we can't make it at 10 a.m. We can actually look at Christian's schedule and move that to 11, for example, and then go ahead and update that appointment. This is going to send out all of the communications to let the patient know that we've moved this to 11, as well as let Christian know that this appointment is now at 11. And you'll see that updated here on the calendar as well. Perfect. So that's one of the use cases for UMBO as far as the way that they're using the scheduler. Another use case that came up as we were talking through the use case with them as well is, what if Carrie patient sends a cancellation? She may not be able to make that appointment and just goes ahead and cancels it instead of rescheduling it, just because she wasn't aware of what the schedule was going to be, things came up, things of that nature. We can actually email an invite to Carrie. So with that, it's going to send an email directly to Carrie to schedule a speech therapy appointment. The cool thing here is that we can pick a date range for this. So if they rescheduled their appointment on the 19th or 21st, for example, we can have them schedule this between the 21st and the 23rd, because they already have an appointment scheduled on the 26th. So we can pick the dates and pick the 21st to the 23rd, and maybe we close a little bit early, maybe at 2 o'clock, for example, on the 23rd. So we want to go ahead and put that as 2 o'clock, and then we're open till 5 o'clock on the 21st. So we can really get down to the nitty-gritty and customize this invite that we're sending out. So it's only going to show the availability between those dates there. If it didn't matter what speech therapy they're meeting with, maybe it doesn't have to be a specific one. Again, we can add that resource pool. So it's going to look at, it's going to show the availability for all the resources that are available between those dates, and go ahead and send that invite out to Carrie patient to schedule that. So a really cool use case there. Another use case that can also be used is for that initial consultation. So maybe we've gone ahead and, we need an assessment. So we want to know what kind of speech therapy, how often we need it, what types of materials you may need, things of that nature. We can actually go ahead and schedule a initial consultation. Now, UMBO does use telehealth, so it would be video conference, but I also want to show you what we can do as far as meeting at a physical location. So if we pick our location in this case, this can actually pull up a map to show you the locations that are nearest you. It's actually pulling from your computer to know where you are with location settings, so that it's getting the location that's nearest you. You can also enter a city or state or postal code for that. But I can click into the map and see it a little closer, maybe, even though this, one may be closer than the other, one has less traffic, for example. So we can go ahead and select our location. Another cool option that we can have as well is to filter. So maybe there's a certain skill, there's a gender, language, things like that we want to filter on. We can actually, maybe if somebody needed to speak Spanish, for example, we can filter down these users, and you can select the person that you want to meet with. Maybe you've worked with Cassidy or David in the past and you want to pick Cassidy, for example. We can go ahead and do that. And this is going to show Cassidy's availability. So we can go ahead and book our appointment, maybe for 4 o'clock on the 15th. Go ahead and invite others. So if the parent needs to be present, or if the parent's booking on behalf of the child, things of that nature, you can invite others. You can also add any notes. So if there were any notes that needed to be added for this specific appointment, and all of this again is going to be stored in Salesforce. So we would gather some basic information. So we can have up to 10 fields here. So you can add additional information if you wanted mobile phone, maybe some sort of drop down, any kind of fields that you want to add to that contact or lead record, because that's what this is going to create. Now, another question that comes up often is, what if this person already exists? Well, we can match on different criteria. Email address is usually the go-to, but we could match on mobile phone number, for example, or things like that, so that we're not creating duplicates in your Salesforce or again, making a mess. So once we schedule our appointment, we would go in and you would get a confirmation email. This is all on the Salesforce record. So you'd be able to see all of the information there as well. And it's on the multi-calendar. So if we go back and look at Curie Patient, for example, you'd be able to see all her past appointments and upcoming appointments, all right here in the activity in Salesforce. With that being said as well, we also have lots of reporting that's available. So you'd be able to look at the reports that dashboards, reports, anything that, KPIs that you want to look at as far as, what's going on with SUMO in your org. So just as an example, we've actually you can actually tell which process somebody has used to book an appointment and see which one maybe you need to adjust. So maybe not many people are using your instant booker, for example, but they're using the online scheduler, and you may need to make some adjustments there as far as the customer journey goes. So we have all of that reporting available for you right here in your Salesforce org. Those are really the main use cases for the HLS industry.